Hi, today I'm going to start going through the November 2022 IEB Information Technology Practical Paper, and I'm going to scroll straight down to the SQL section, Section A, and let's just read the scenario. X-Space System is a private space exploration company that aims to send manned missions to explore the neighboring solar systems. They've employed many astronauts who will captain these missions and have built a variety of spaceships, which will be used for the scheduled missions. Let's look at question 1. A database has been created called X-Space Systems that contains the details of captains who will command a spaceship on specific missions to designated solar systems. The database contains the following tables. Table captains contains the details of captains that command spaceships for particular missions, and it's got a captain ID, integer, the full name, the date hired, which was the date the captain started with this company, and combat training, which is a Boolean saying true or false if the captain has done combat training before. And there's an example of the data. Then table spaceships contains the details of spaceships that will be used by the captains on missions. It's got a spaceship ID, a model, as the speed, which is a multiple of light speed. Okay, then fuel consumption and fuel capacity. Fuel consumption, note, it's the amount of fuel used to travel 1 light year. And fuel capacity is the maximum fuel capacity of the ship. And then table missions contains the details of the missions that have been assigned to captains together with their spaceships. There's a mission ID, captain ID, spaceship ID. Then the main objective is the main objective of the mission, the departure date, the scheduled departure date, the distance is the distance to the destination solar system measured in light years, and the solar system, which is the code name of the destination solar system. So there's a whole lot of data there showing you an example of what is in the table. And I'm just going to display this on the left, the exam paper, and we will have the database on the right. And what I'm going to do, as I usually do when I look at these papers, I'm going to go to database tools and just set up the relationships for myself. I'm going to drag the 3 tables in. And okay, let's close that and just link them so that it's easy to see at a glance how they are linked. And it helps me when I'm doing my questions as well. So I've got Captain ID here and Captain ID here. So I'm going to click on Captain ID in Table Captains, drag it through to Table Missions, and create a link. And then I've got Spaceship ID here and Spaceship ID in Table Spaceships. So I'm going to click on Table Spaceship here and drag it through to Table Spaceships and create the link. So now I've got a nice at a glance picture of all the fields. Just make sure you can see. Oops, there was a hidden one there. Yeah, okay. Make sure you can see all the fields before you actually create a copy of this. What I do is I use my snipping tool, and I'm going to go new and just create a little copy of that can stay open on the screen for me all the time while I'm busy with the paper. I find that a really useful way to work. You can close this, you can save it, yes or not, doesn't matter. And let's move that aside so we've got more space to work. Okay, this is actually very small. Let me just zoom in a little bit there, and we'll put our snipping tool back on. Right. So let's look at the first question. Display a list showing all the captain's details who have combat training. Order this list starting with the most recent date. Now, if it's all the captain's details, then definitely we're going to be using table captains, and it's going to be a select star. So let's create our query. Create query design, SQL. And it's going to be a select star. We need to say from which table, and it's from table captains. and then who have combat training. So if I look at the table and in the snipping tool, I can see there's a combat training. And do you remember that was a true false field, a Boolean? So I'm going to say where combat training equals true. Okay. Then the last thing I must do, this is for 4 marks. So I expect to have about 4 lines of code in my query. And the last thing I need to do is order the list, starting with the most recent date. So it's going to be order by, and the date hired, obviously, seeing as that's the only date in the table. Now, if I order by date hired, I think that's going to be the oldest date first, and they want the most recent date first. So I think I've got to do it descending. DESC. I'm going to run and check my results. Okay, it says the first 5 records, so I don't expect to see, I've got a much longer list than them, which is normal. But let's see, we start with 17 Kermit feet, 2011 304, and yes, okay, so that's looking great. Then Sipho Clanty, then Filuva Jordan, then Lyle Foster, and so on. Okay, so our data looks great. And we can go on to 1.2. Display all the ship's details whose model names start with the letter M or T and have a fuel consumption of less than 500. So again, create query design. And we need to check, let's go to SQL. We need to check what table are we working for? All the ship's details. So this will be table spaceships. And if it's all the ship's details, then we need to select star again. So select star from TBL spaceships. Okay. That start with the letter M or T. So I need to say where, and it's the model. So where model, I'm going to use the like command, like, quote, M, let's do capital M, star, quote, and I'm going to say or model, like, quote, T, star, quote, and have a fuel consumption of less than 500. Now, because I've got an or, and I'm going to use an and, I must put brackets around the or function. Could have put that all on one line. Maybe it would make it look better. Let's do that. Okay, so it really doesn't matter. It will still run the same. Have a fuel consumption of less than 500. So we must say, put the word and fuel consumption less than 500. Okay, let's run it and see it's the correct output. So we must have not that many records. Okay, so it's spaceship ID 2, 5, 13, 16, 19, 20, 21, 23, and 25, 22, 23, 25. Good. So we've got the correct ones. Our data is looking good. So that's that query done. 1.3, let's start it. The company would like to award long service awards to their employees. Display a list of all captains who will be with the company for 10 years or more this year. And again, it said display a list of all captains. It looks like this is working from the table captains table. And it looks like we're again displaying everything about the captain, all 4 fields. So that's select star. And it's from TBL captains. You see how I just tackle one little bit about the question at a time. First, I decide which table I'm working from. Then I look at which fields I need to display. That's why I did select star. And then I'm going to go on to the details. So I've done display a list of all captains. But now I must do the where clause. So it's with the company for 10 years or more. So now I'm going to have to do a calculation on the dates. Where, and I need to take the date hired, but I need to take the year out of the date hired. So where year date hired, but I've got to subtract this year brackets date hired from today's date. So let's just move that up. I'm going to have to say year brackets now. Now gives me today's date. And then I'm going to say minus year date hired. So I want this whole calculation to be greater than or equal to 10. It said for 10 years or more. So I know it must be greater than or equal to 10. So I'm going to put the calculation in brackets, like that. And I'm going to say greater than or equal to 10. Remember, for greater than or equal to, you put the greater than sign first, then the equal sign next to it. And that's the calculation. And if you run it, oh, I'm getting too many captains here. Maybe this is because it was 2022 and now we're in 2024. Maybe I should do 8 years. Should we try that? Because it's like, this is from 2 years ago, this exam, so I'm moving 2 years. Let's see if we've still got a lot of captains here. I'm not sure if I'm making a mistake. Oh, it does say the first 10 records, so it's probably fine. Okay, let's just see. Yeah, they didn't have an order by here at all. They didn't have a saying you should order your dates in any way. So I think that looks great. Okay, 1.4. Let's just start the new query. Okay, display the model and speed of all spaceships that have an above average speed. All spaceships, so that's going to be table spaceships. And above average speed. Above average speed means that we also need to know what the average speed of all the spaceships is to know that it's above average. So we're going to have 2 selects in one command. Because once you're working an average out, you're actually doing one command. So let's do this. Select AVG brackets. We want to know what the average speed is. And when I want to know what the field name is, I look there. There it is, speed, at the bottom there. So average speed, and from EBL spaceship. This is the command that's going to be inside the where clause, but I want to test it on its own first. So I've typed it out, I'm going to run it. And obviously I'm just getting one number. So any spaceship that's got an average, a speed of more than 3.25133, I want to display, okay? All the spaceships with a speed greater than this. I'm going to put it in brackets, okay? Don't have to maybe, but it will make it easier to spot. So I'm going to do the rest of the query first. It says select the model and speed. So select model, comma, speed, and it's going to be from EBL spaceships, and then where, and I want where the speed is greater than the average speed, so where speed is greater than that. Okay, that thing we tested just now. And that should give me all of those spaceships. There's no order by here, no where clause. I think we've done everything. Oh, no, it does say display the list in descending order of speed. Okay, there is an order by. You see how it's important to reread your question and really check you've done every little detail that is asked for. So in order, descending order of speed, so speed, okay, order by speed, descending. You can see the fastest ones are at the top. All right, so let's run it. And yes, that looks good. We start with S336 at 5.58, and we end with M327 at 3.3. All right, then there's your SQL again. And let's go to the next question. 1.5, display a list showing the number of missions that have been scheduled in the first 6 months of each year. The list should show the year of the mission, called year of mission, and a count, called number of missions. The correct output is shown below. Now, when you see this word each, that's a clue. You probably need to do a group by, okay? So let's start the query and go to the SQL. So let's look. The number of missions. So I think we're going to be working from table missions that have been scheduled in the first 6 months of each year. So we're going to have to look at the departure dates to check if they're in the first 6 months of the year. The month out of the departure date must be less than or equal to 6. Okay. And then we're going to have to, the list should show the year of the mission. So we'll have to grab the year of the mission out of departure dates. And then we'll have to use count star for the number of missions. So let's select year out of year of mission. Or what was it? No, departure date. Okay. And I'm not going to worry about the aliases for now, the names of the columns. Let's just try work on the command first, and then we will add them later. And we're going to do count star. Remember, in your group bys, you can use min, max, AVG, sum, and count star. So there are 4 commands with 3-letter words and 1 with a 5-letter word. Okay, min, max, AVG, sum, and count. Those are the ones that go with the group bys. And usually you group by whatever your other field is that you've selected. So what table are we working from? From EBL missions. Should show the year of the mission. Okay, we've done that. And it must be in the first 6 months. So I first have to do my group by. Or, no, I think, I'm not sure if the group by comes afterwards. I'm just going to do it by trial and error. Because I need to say where month, departure date, is less than or equal to 6. And then I can say my group by. Your having is only for things that apply to this part. Okay, I only want to count the ones that have a month departure date less than or equal to 6. And I must group by year departure date. Remember, you usually group by the other field, the one that is not part of the aggregate function. Okay, let's just, okay, well, let's put the aliases on. So it looks nice. So as year of mission, and the other one as number of missions. Okay, and then run. Yay. No, oh wait, 2030. Is that a new one? It says the correct output. Why have I got one extra one there? Oh, maybe that was one that you add at the end. I think that's why. Don't worry about that. It's because I've actually already worked on here. And you'll see that the last commands actually adds a whole lot of missions that fly in the year 2030. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about that. My output actually is correct. Next, 1.6. Display a list showing the mission ID, the full name of the captain, the model of the spaceship, the speed of the spaceship, the destination of the solar system, the distance, and a calculated field that will determine the time in years it would take to reach the destination. Wow, that's a lot. Okay. Round this number to 2 decimal places and name the field time in years. The time can be calculated as follows. Time in years equals distance to solar system / speed of the spaceship. Okay. So let's go. What I'm going to do now is put my red pen on. And I'm going to go and tick all the fields that are required in my snipping tool at the bottom. So the full name, mission ID, the model. Oh, we're using all three tables. Can you see that? The speed of the spaceship and a calculated field. Okay, and wait, the destination solar system, I haven't got that. So the solar system, the distance, and now the calculated field, which uses distance to solar system. Okay, distance, that's distance, divide by speed. All right, so we've already underlined those two fields, but you can see we're using all the tables. So this is a one where you need to have a very long where or a join if you want to. So I'm going to first list all my fields. Mission ID. Now remember, if it's a field that appears in more than one table, you must specify which table you're wanting it from. Missions dot mission ID, comma, the full name of the captain. So just full name. That field does not appear in any other table, so I can just say full name. The model of the spaceship. So I'll just put model, comma, the speed of the spaceship, speed, comma, the destination solar system, that's called solar system, comma, the distance, okay, that's just called distance, comma, and I'm going to carry on with the next line so we can see nicely. Now we need to do our calculation. So we're going to just put it in brackets, the distance divided by the speed, distance slash speed, and they want us to round it to 2 decimal places. So I need to use my round function and distance, comma, speed, comma, distance slash speed, comma, 2. That will round it. Name the field time in years. So as time in, years. And then from, I need to list all my tables because I'm selecting data from everywhere. Table captains, comma, table missions, comma, table spaceships. Right, now our where clause. How are we going to join the tables? This is where I love this little diagram at the bottom. I can see immediately that I've got to have table captains.captain ID. Look at where the join is, equal to table missions.captain ID. And I can look at the other little link there, and I can see and table missions.spaceship ID equal to table spaceships.spaceship ID. So let's start typing. TBL captains. Oops. I don't have to worry so much about uppercase and lowercase, but I find it just makes everything look neater. Don't worry, if you want to type it all in lowercase, you are welcome. Table missions.captain ID. And I want table missions dot spaceship ID equal to TBL spaceships dot spaceship ID. Phew, and there we go. All right. Are there any wheres in here? Don't think so. They say showing mission ID. I don't think so. No where clause, no order by. But I haven't yet named my field. Oh no, I have. Okay, as time in use. No, this is looking good. Let's run it and see what we get. We've got innocent mailer, S897, etc. And our time in use 1.16 is correct. The last column is important because that's your calculated field. 0.7, 0.95, 3.14, 2.44, and it's Bronwyn Williams. So all looking very good there. All right. And we can go back to the SQL if you want to see that again. 1.7, the company would like to change some of the main objectives of some of the missions. Identify all the missions that have not yet departed, are military exercises, and whose solar system codename does not end with an A, B, or C. Change the main objective of these missions to scouting. So this is an update command, all right? And let's go and create our new query. I'm going to do an update. Okay. It gives me a little clue about how to start it if I do that. Okay, so update. What table are we working on? Of some of the missions. So we're working on table missions. All right. I'm just going to go and erase all of my little markings down here so that it looks better. Right. So we want to update table missions. And we want to set change the main objective of these missions to scouting. Set main objective equals, quote, scouting, where. Now, the where is the important thing. Identify all missions that have not yet departed. So where departure date is less than now. No, greater than now. Remember, now is for today's date. And they are military exercises. So how do we know if it's a military exercise? It's because the main objective is a military exercise. And main objective equals, quote, military exercise. Right. And whose solar system code name does not end with an A, B, or C. Where's the code name? It's the solar system. And solar system. But we want the last letter, does not end. So we need to use that command called write function, write, comma 1. That's going to grab the last letter out of solar system, does not end in A, B, or C. So we can use this not in command, not in, put a bracket, quote A, comma B, comma C, like that. All right. And yeah, I think that should work. So let's run it. It's going to tell me I'm about to update 2 rows. You see this, there are some missions that left in 2024, 2. Okay, I should be, yeah, and 1 in 2023. That's why it's only going to update 2 rows. Okay, it's only finding 2 rows. So, yeah, I think it's looking fine. All right. And remember, this is a 2022 paper. Okay, and then the last command, yay. Okay, create query design. Okay, which you can, yeah, I'm not going to say it's okay. Some of the captains have no assigned missions. Write a query that will add missions for these captains. Assign them a random ship number, 1 to 30 inclusive, a main objective of exploration, a departure date for 01/01/2030. Remember, those were the ones we counted just now in our group by question. And then the solar system Alpha Centauri with a distance of 5 light years. And it says they need missions. So this is the table missions that we are inserting data into. Okay, so we're going to say insert into table missions. And now we're going to put all the fields we want to add data to. So we're going to say mission ID, comma. They said that okay, we're going to have captain ID. comma. We are going to, are we going to have a spaceship ID? Oh, the spaceship, a random ship number. Okay, spaceship ID. Hold on. Are we going to have a mission ID? Actually, I need to check. When you look at the paper, if the mission ID, you could also look in your database. Yeah, actually, let's look at the table missions. And we want to look at the design view. Do you see that mission ID is an auto number? That means it automatically generates a new mission ID for you when you add new records to this table. So we don't actually need to put that into our query. So I'm going to remove it. All right. Okay. Spaceship ID. Main objective will be exploration. So we need that. And then departure date. And we need a distance of 5 years. So we need to add that. And then the solar system. Okay. Those are the values that we're going to have in our insert command. And then we're going to select. That to be in capitals. Now we're going to select all of the values we can from table captains. All right. Let me just from table captains. So let's do that. We can select the captain ID. We can select, no, we need a random spaceship number. So this is, at this stage, we need to generate a random number. So we're going to go int, RND, brackets. Remember, you have to put a seed in here. So we can just put captain ID and then times 30 and plus 1. Okay, that will generate a random number from 32. No, wait, what did they want from? 1 to 30. I think, yeah, that should do it. Okay, then, comma, main objective of exploration. If you're not sure of how to generate random numbers, please go and revise that section. Right, and a departure date of 01/01/2030. Now remember that dates must always be in hashtag, not in quotes. Okay, your command may work, but you will lose marks. All right, solar system of Alpha Centauri. Are we at the solar system? No, we're. Please make sure that your data matches here. So captain ID, I've got. Spaceship ID is the random number. Main objective is exploration. Departure date is there. 01/01/2030. Now I must put the distance, even though they listed here Alpha Centauri before the light year. So the distance is 5. And now I get to my solar system. So quote Alpha dash Centauri. Quote. And where am I selecting this? From TBL captains, where captain ID not in, select captain ID from TBL captains. Whoops. Okay, I've got a few words in lowercase there. Sorry, I think this should work. This was for 9 marks, so it is quite a lot of work. All right, let's try it. If I run it, is this going to run? No, I think I've got an error somewhere. Syntax error, comma. Captain ID, comma. I can't see anything wrong there. Okay, so I've made a mistake here. This should not be from table captains. Obviously, I'm looking for the captains who are not yet in table missions. all right? And over here, I think I was missing a bracket. So I've added a bracket. I've made sure that that is in brackets, and then I add 1 to it, and then I put brackets there on the outside to cast it into an integer. And now if I run it, it's going to tell me it's going to append 0 rows, because if I look at table missions, actually all of these missions have already been added. So I could go here and delete them all, but it would take a little bit of time. I don't know if I can delete a whole lot. Let's see. Maybe I can delete a whole lot at once. Let's delete. Okay, cool. And okay, let's go run it again. So now I'm about to append 17 rows. That looks about right. From 31 to 46. Oh, it should be about 16 rows. I'm not sure. I seem to have one more. But let's run it, and then we can go and look at table missions. Again, we'd have to close it and reopen it. And if you want to look, they are actually, and it's numbered them differently because I had already used 31 to 46 were used up. So now I've got new ones. Right, but that's it for the SQL section of this paper. Remember that it counts for 50 marks out of 150. So it's really worth studying and working at your SQL because that's a third of the paper, and it can take you up to an hour to complete. Okay, thanks for watching today. I hope you keep studying and learning well, and I will continue with this paper next week. See you then.